Hey guys, check out these production quality improvements. This is awesome. Lately I've been diving deeper into certain Sakamoto pieces that are difficult to understand using our standard toolkit. How might we explain, for example, the A section to his piece Blue? The song generally chugs along in C major, and we can explain away the E7 sharp 9 as a secondary dominant, but what about the B flat major 7, which introduces one flat, or the E flat minor 11, which introduces several? We've discussed various lenses for understanding a B flat chord in the context of C major. Maybe it's borrowed from a C mixolydian, or from A phrygian, especially when followed by A minor. Or if the song proceeds to repeat the same theme of fourth up, maybe it's what I call a 4 of 4 chord. Explaining the E flat minor 11 chord by these means is even stranger. Would it be a flat 3 minor chord borrowed from C Locrian? Or do we put these chords in the vague, non-functional bin? In this video, I'll discuss a new framework that I came across in my research, which will help us to gracefully explain this song and hopefully to write more songs like it. Kayano and Chou no Uragi. So recently, a student turned me on to Japanese music theorist Kayanochino and their 3-volume series on the harmony of J-pop, anime music, and VGM. The key concept introduced in the books is called Chou no Uragi, or tonality fluctuation. Essentially, a musical idea with tonality fluctuation, as Kayano defines it, is one where the key moves around within the same musical sentence. It's not quite a full-on modulation where the A section is in one key and the B section is in another, and it's also a broader musical movement than a borrowed chord or a secondary cadence. In fact, as we'll see when we apply it to Blue, this is exactly why the framework is useful. We can sometimes use tonality fluctuation to describe what would otherwise be multiple borrowed chords, and that simplifies our analysis. It's also more specific than labeling all the weird chords with the non-functional catch-all and calling it a day. I'll be teaching a slightly modified version of Chou no Uragi based on the analysis conventions from my previous videos, but if you'd like to read Kayano for yourself, I've linked both the English translated and the Japanese original versions in the description. It essentially agrees with my 4 of 4 idea and broadens the concept to explain many more scenarios. I think that example 2-4 from volume 1 does a particularly good job at capturing this Sakamoto sound. Now let's work our way up to Blue by analyzing a couple of other songs. First, I'd like to take a look at another Sakamoto song called Opus. In Opus, we see a nice, simple example of tonality fluctuation. Sakamoto starts the song in G, and then uses a 4 of 4 device to modulate to C, and then uses a more involved voice leading phrase to modulate to G flat for the B section. Let's observe. And thank you again to my right-hand man Nyakkai for helping with the piano performance and score preparation for this video. So, the main thing that tonality fluctuation helps us to describe here is the end of the musical sentence. Instead of saying that the F major 7 is a borrowed chord, making the key transition like G to G mixolydian, back to G, then G flat, we can simplify as G to C to G flat. C is just one tick away from G on the circle of fifths, so that's an easy transition. The transitions from C to G flat and G flat back to G are a bit trickier. Sakamoto achieves them using a secondary dominant first inversion and chromatic mediant respectively. Chained perfect and plagal fluctuations. Because changing keys along the circle of fifths is so easy to pull off, we can do it multiple times to drift further away from our starting key before returning to it, or to drift further away from our parent key and just continue in a new key. Tomoki Miyoshi's The Winter Breeze from I Am Setsuna is a great example of this. The key changes of that sentence go E flat, A flat, D flat, A flat, E flat. We might say that this sentence's tonality has two perfect fluctuations and then two plagal fluctuations to get back to the top. Kashiwa Marumochi's Fuyu Momiji does something similar by using two perfect fluctuations and one chromatic fluctuation to get from C to A, and actually continues on in A without ever returning to C. So that's C to F to B flat to A. Now let's get into Sakamoto's Blue. We can describe the tonality of the A section as fluctuating C to F to G flat to C. Tonality fluctuation gives us a tidy analysis of this song with a few contiguous measures in each key. Because C and F have so many overlapping chords, there's a little bit of room for debate as to where the song switches from C major to F major. But regardless of where you draw the line, the overall goal here is just clarity and understanding, and hopefully implementation in your own work. When he transitions from F to G flat not using direct modulation, i.e. not by repeating the exact same phrase a half step up, Sakamoto has to get pretty creative to bridge that gap from F to G flat, which from the perspective of the circle of fifths is quite big. This is an older challenge than you might know. A friend was telling me that apparently in Vienna during Bach's time, if a piece was followed by another piece in a distant key, so say that we had one piece that was in C major, followed by a piece in A flat major, what they would do is they'd have an organist come on and play an improvised interlude that would gradually add or subtract sharps or flats until we got to the new key. By contrast, what I've seen Sakamoto and Hisaishi do in such situations is to use 2 or 3 very carefully selected chords to quickly leap between distant keys. Either way, some harmonic gymnastics are required, like C to F to B flat to E flat. In the finale of the song, Sakamoto actually uses 2 more perfect fluctuations for 3 total to get even further away from C before returning home. So it goes C to F to B flat to E flat to C. earlier in the song, when the strings state the A section for the first time, the key drifts all the way out to A flat. Now, good luck analyzing all of that with borrowed chords. Like, no way. As I've discussed in my Circle of Fifths video, this has the really cool effect of getting more and more mysterious as we go deeper and deeper into the dark side of the Circle of Fifths. Part of what makes it work so well is that we're so used to hearing perfect cadences that each perfect fluctuation feels like an authentic arrival home. Each time we subvert that expectation, the feeling is kind of like, oh, now we're home. Oh, now we're home. Oh, now we're home, right? And basically, you really just arrive at home whenever that chain stops and you hold the chord out. It's not unlike chaining together 2-5-1s until you arrive at your target key, which is a common jazz technique. So far, I've only encountered one other song that chains together multiple perfect tonality fluctuations in this same fashion. It's called Wakare to Yume by Shogo Nomura, and it goes from B to G. Whew! Alright. After familiarizing ourselves with Kayanochino's concept of tonality fluctuation and applying it to some other songs, we use this framework to understand what's going on in Blue by Ryuichi Sakamoto. This framework helped us to tidily explain what would otherwise be difficult to explain using normal functional harmony. Zooming out to the meta-analysis level, we might start to catalog how composers tend to transition both between nearby keys and between distant keys. For perfect or plagal fluctuations, usually just a pivot chord or a chromatic movement will do the trick. For more distant keys, like when Sakamoto transitions from C to E flat, we either have to do something more gradual or something more clever, like a chromatic mediant or some clever voice leading or something like that. A number of Japanese artists use tonality fluctuation, but only a few that I've come across push it as far as Sakamoto does. I'll link to some other examples that use this technique in the description. I encourage you to experiment with it as well to give your music more intrigue and mystery. Hey y'all, Gabchan in a t-shirt here. If you've made it to the end of this video, I first of all just wanted to thank you for all of your interest. I also wanted to let you know ways that you can get more involved with and support my channel. I have a very active Discord server which you can join at the link in the description. We share cool music finds with each other, comment on each other's drafts, talk about anime and video games, and even host occasional events like a thing I call Music Hackathon, where everybody on the server makes a new song in 24 hours. Some of the members of that Discord have signed up to be my patrons on Patreon. They get a special Chan rank on the server as well as access to an exclusive channel to chat with me directly. Starting today, I'm also offering a higher Patreon tier, which will offer you a San rank on our Discord, and also access to a monthly hangout call with me, your name at the end of these videos, and other benefits that I'm currently working on. Students have used lessons with me to ask questions about my videos, fill some gaps in their theory, or otherwise get my comments on songs that they're working on. If a student just wants to know the chords for a certain song, I also offer harmonic analyses and transcriptions for a commission. If any of that sounds interesting to you, feel free to hit me up via email, Discord, or Instagram. I even offer songwriting, arranging, guitar, and piano as session musician services if you want me on your next record. So if you do, give me a holler. And for the first time ever, if you liked it, like it and subscribe, it helps me. You've heard the pitch a million times, it helps me out if you do either one of those things. Thanks a lot. And last but not least, Circle of Fifths t-shirts, like the one I am currently sporting in Goku Orange, also comes as a tank top, are now available in a variety of sizes and colors on my Teespring site, which I will also link in the description. You can wear them to rep the channel and use them as a guide in your adventures in music theory. Your support is integral to this channel continuing and improving, so if any of those support methods appeals to you, please feel free to go for it. Look out for more theory videos, interviews, transcriptions, and original songs from me in the future. But for now, I gotta get back to work on all of that, so until next time, じゃあね. Also comes with a tank top. I hope we use all of this.